Sibingelele sikwamukele indabeni zehora lokuqala emini sibingelele nakuwe osibuka ohlelweni lotholusha lezokusakaza iDTT lezi indaba nizethulelwa usakhiwo ngokwasokhela nazi ezinohlonze emini nje.
Icala lihlehliselwe umhla ka-12 kuDisemba ngenxa yokuthi umantshi ubengazizwa kahle.
Kuhlehlisela umhla zi-12 kwephezulu kwethula kwesinqumo ecaleni lokushushumbisa idakamizwa elibhekene nomsola wokuqala ecaleni lokubulawa kaSenzomeyiwa. Namhlanje iphini likaMengameli wezwe Paul Mashatile wethula inkulumo emcimbini wokusuku lokuqwashisa ngesandelo langculaza nengculaza uqobo eMandeni kwaZulu Natal. Kuhlehliselwe umhla zi-12 kwephezulu kwethulwa kwesinqumo ecaleni lokutholakala nezidakamizwa kanye nenhlamvu ngaphandle kwemvumo elibhekene nomsola wokuqala ecaleni lokubulawa kaSenzomeyiwa. Leli cala elibhekene nomuzi Sibiya lihlehle ngenxa yokuthi imantshi ebelingamele ke ayikwazanga ukufika enkantolo ngenxa yokuthi isahlabekile. Inkantolo yemantshi sinqumo ukuthi uSibiya uzoqhubeka ukugqunywa esitokisini. Lo msolo waboshwa mhla zingama-30 kuNhlaba ka-2020 emva kokutholakala nezidakamizwa kanye nezinhlamvu ngaphandle kwemvume. Kwathi ke ngokuhamba kwesikhathi wabe sethweswa icala njengengxenye yabantu ababamba iqhaza mhla kubulawa uSenzomeyiwa ngo-2014 Dorasi eMpumalanga yeGoli.
Icala lihlehliselwe umhla ka-12 kuDisemba ngenxa yokuthi umantshi ubengazizwa kahle ngakho ke akakhonanga ukuthi abe semsebenzini azokwazi ukuthi athule isinqumo sakhe. Sithemba ukuthi thina bombuso sinikezane ngofakazi obwanele ukuthi inkantolo ingakwazi ukuthi ifinyelele esinqumweni sokuthi imthola enecala noma engenacala. Inkantolo izoba sesimweni sokuthi ingakhipha isinqumo sayo ngemva kokuthi icubungule kahle ubufakazi obungaphambi kwayo.
Ungqongqoshe wezogesi uDokotela uHosien Tsuramokgopa uthi zizokwehliswa izigaba zohlelo lokucisha konke ugesi kulempela sonto esiyakuyo. uRamokgopa uveze ukuthi liyaqhubeka ke imizamo yokulungisa inkinga yamandla yize zikhona izingqinamba ezibuyisela imizamo emumva.
Uqalile ukufika umthamo uqala wama-generator athenjiswa izwe laseChina ukusiza izikhungo zikahulumeni wakuleli ukuba zikwazi ukusebenza ngesikhathi kucime ugesi. Lesivumelwano sacikicwa ngoNcwaba ngesikhathi umengameli waseChina uXi Jinping ekuleli. Lama-generator afika nje iNingizimu Afrika ibhekeneke namazinga aphezulu okucishwa konga kukagesi.
The fact that there was significant depletion of our emergency reserves, the reserves have recovered, and we have seen that we have lowered the degree and intensity of load shedding.
Izwe laseChina lithi lizimisele ukusiza iNingizimu Afrika ukuba ibhekane nenkinga kagesi.
China-South Africa relations entered the golden era since this August. China is ready to provide more necessary support, including energy equipment and other donation to help our South Africa people to overcome load shedding problem.
Lama generator azokuyiswa ezikoleni, ezinkantolo nasezikhungweni zezempilo.
Ngoba ke umthamo lethwa igenerator yodwa u6 kilowatts azohlanganiswa bemabili ngeclinic bese ba u12. Kusho ukuthi ke izwe lonke sizothola u19 wama clinic azothola lama generators esisize.
Kulendeleke ukuthi kufike omunye umthamo wama-generator ngaseqaleni konyaka ozayo. Kusenjalo ungqongqoshe uRamokgopa uthi uzokuchaza kabanzi ngesimo samandla kagesi ngesonto elizayo. NginguSimphiwe Makhanya wezindaba zeSABC ngiseHowick.
Ungqongqoshe ofisi likaMengameli uKhumbuzo Ntshabeni usegxekile ukuphawula okwenziwe yiloyo wayenhloko yamajaji uMukhweng odalula ukuthi uMengameli wezwe uCyril Ramaphosa kwakufanele adalulo obala laba babefake imali kumeseka emkhankasweni wakhe wokunqoba ukhetho lokuba uMengameli weANC. Ungqongqoshe Ntshabeni uphinde waphawula nangamanye amaphuzu aphathelene nodaba lasePalestine kanye nesigameko sokushona kwezisebenzi emayini Impala Platinum.
Inxaso ngezimali yephulo likaRamaphosa eyaziwa njenge-CR17 yaba yindaba yasezinkundleni emva kokuba umkhuseli luntu owaxothwayo uadvocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane wamfumanisa elahlekise iParlamente. Nakuba kunjalo inkundla yomgaqo siseko yagweba ngecala likaRamaphosa. Kodwa owayesakuba ijaji inhloko uMkhweng uthi umongameli kwakufanele ayidize inkxaso-mali.
They are unfortunate because he had a minority judgment on that, and it's unfortunate that he wants to rule from the grave and express a view from the grave.
uNtshabeni uthi ikhabhinethi seza kuthatha isigqibo malunga nekamva lendlu yozakuzo yakwaSirayeli kulandela isindululo seNational Assembly sokuba ivalwe. Ikhabhinethi kwathumele umyalezo wovelwano kwiintsapho zabembi mgodi abali-12 beImpala Platinum ababhubhe ngomvulo kwingozi yelift. Babhubhe emva kokuqhawuka kwentambo ehamba ngayo.
Before this disaster, we were on track to meet our goal of only recording 41 deaths in mine as part of our safety improvements in the mines.
uNtshabeni uthi ikhabhinethi yanelisekile izinzame zikaTransnet zokusombulula ukuxinana kwamanye amazibuko elilizwe. Dingilulama Amatya wendaba ze-SABC eParlamente eKapa.
Ikomishana yokhetho ezimele iIEC ithi uhlelo lokucisha ngogesi lungase liphazamisa amalungiselelo okhetho likazwelonke ngonyaka ozayo. Kepha ke le komishana iphezulu kwenhlelo zokubhekana nalenkinga. iIEC isho lokhu ngesikhathi ethula incwadi ekhethekile yakuleli izindaba zamazwe ngamazwe.
I-South African Journal of International Affairs incwadi exhobisa amazwe ngamazwe kwinkqubo yonyulo ukuze kuphuculwe inkqubo yentando yesininzi. Le ncwadi iza kusasazwa kuwo onke amazwe elizwe. Nanjengoko ikomishoni yonyulo yeli ilungiselela unyulo lakulonyaka uzayo, le komishoni ithi ingxaki yocimicimi yombane ingachaphazela amalungiselelo onyulo.
It's something that will affect the work, and we are planning around it. In our planning, we are factoring the fact that we may be experiencing load shedding. I'll give an example. There are printing plants throughout the country who are going to be printing the ballot paper. We need to ensure that load shedding does not affect the operation of the printing of the ballot paper.
Le komishoni ithi isathetha-thethana nomongameli Cyril Ramaphosa ngosuku lonyulo.
They have intensified and they'll soon be concluded, and we hope that he'll be in a position to take the country into confidence as to when the election date would be.
Kulindeleke kuba unyulo lakulonyaka uzayo lubelelona liza kuba nokhuphiswano olukhulu ukusukela ngo-1994. Le komishoni ithi abantu mabangaxhali ngeziphumo eziphekiweyo. I-SADC Electoral Commission Forum ithi iza kuthumela igqiza eliza kuqwalasela le nkqubo yonyulo yalapha eMzantsi Afrika. Kwiindaba ze-SABC, Dingubulelani Philip eKapa.
Uhulumeni waKwaZulu-Natal wethule ama-number plate amasha kulesifundazwe. Lolu hlelo lwethulwe ngokusemthethweni undunankulu wesifundazwe uNomsa Dube-Ncube.
Isifundazwe iKwaZulu-Natal sijoyina uzwelonke ngama-number plates athi awefane. Uhulumeni uthi lolu shintsho ludalwe ukuthi uhlelo olukhona luphelelwe isikhathi futhi seludala njengoba lunomthwalo wemoto ezibalelwa ku-500,000 ebhaliswa unyaka nonyaka. Okuyinto ke enza ukuthi amanye amadolobha aphelelwe indlela entsha yokwenza ama-number plates.
Isifundazwe nesifundazwe fanele sibe nezinamba, kufanele futhi sibe nezimoto ezinophawu olukhombisayo ukuthi le moto irejistwe kuphi noba ibhaliswe kuphi futhi ingekabani.
Uhulumeni uthi abanikazi bemoto bazoyikhokhela lezi nguquko zokushintshwa kwama-number plates.
We were still giving them more than 21 months to change. That means they can change even after a year, which will at least giving them an opportunity to fundraise whatever money that they might needed to change to a new system.
Imbono emphakathini ihlukile ngalolu hlelo.
And I also think that apparently they only have a grace period of 21 months to do it, which I also think is they should rather just phase it in.
kushintshwelana uma ngabe sizokhokha ngoba phela akuthini sithi akushintshwe nalapho singena emaphaketheni sikhokha imali.
Wonke ama-number plates kuhlanganisa nalabo abantu abayiqokele okubhaliwe azogcina ngeyinhlamvu ezimbili ezithi ZN. Eyindabeni ze-SABC nginguvusi Khumalo eThekwini.
Mbukelisi sathi iqhwe etolo kanti masibuya sizokuphathela udaba oluthi
From day one, we have been focused relentlessly on trying to secure the release of hostages.
Amaphoyisa kwa-Israel abika ukuthi sekuphinde kwaba nokuhlasela futhi phakathi kwe-Israel kanye nombutho wezempi wama-Palestina iHamas ngemva kokwengezwa kosuku lokumiswa kwempi. Sikubingelele sikwamukele imbukelo uma ngabe usanda ngena odabeni oluhambe phambili besibike ukuthi kuhlehliselwe umhlazishi umnambili kwephezulu kwethulwa kwesinqumo ecaleni lokushushumbisa idakamizwa elibhekene nomsola wokuqala ecaleni lokubulawa kaSenzo Meyiwe. Mbukela sikukhumbuza ukuthi lezi ndaba zikhona ku YouTube na ku SABC Plus ngena kuzo uzicinge ngamagama athi SABC izindaba na kanjani uzosithola. Amaphoyisa kwa-Israel abika ukuthi sekuphinde kwaba nokuhlasela futhi phakathi kwe-Israel kanye nombutho wezempi wama-Palestina iHamas kuthi abalisa ababili basePalestina bavulele ngenhlamvu esikhumulweni samabhasi eJerusalema namhlanje kuseni. Lokhu kwenzeka nje kusanda kwengezwa ngosuku olulodwa kubekwa phansi kwezikhali phakathi kwalamazwe omabili.
Kungekapheli isikhathi esingakanani kumenyezelwe ukwelulwa kokubekwa phansi kwezikhali elasePalestina seliphinde lagadla futhi eJerusalema nalapho kushone khona abantu abathathu esikhumulweni samabhasi.
I've just finished a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken a short while after the killers of Hamas murdered Israelis here in Jerusalem. And I've said to him, this is the same Hamas that carried out the terrible massacre on October 7th, the same Hamas that tries to kill us everywhere.
Ukumisa kwalempi kwezinsuku eziyisikhombisa emva kokululwa kwekhefu kabili kuholele ekutheni kukhululwe abantu ebebethunjwe ezinhlangothi zombili.
We have been focused relentlessly on trying to secure the release of hostages from Gaza and from Hamas. And we have seen over the last week the very positive development of hostages coming home.
Izakhamuzi zaseGaza zisaqhubeka nokuhlala lubhojozi njengoba zingazi ukuthi ikusasa liziphatheleni.
You can see the situation here. Everyone is shopping since it's the last day of the truce. One is scared of what will happen tomorrow, so they prepare accordingly. We wish that this was the last day of the war and we can be done with all of this, from the chaos to the displacement. This is what we wish for.
Amazwe abamba iqhaza eqedweni kwalempi anxusa ukuthi izikhali zibekwe phansi unomphela, kepha ke iHamas kanye nelakwa Israel bakulungele ukubuyela empini.
Sichithiwe isiphakamiso se-DA sokuhlakaza umkhandlu edolobha iGoli. Leli qembu belifake lesicelo ngoba lithi kunezinkinga zobuholi kulomkhandlu.
Amaqembu ayekade engxenye yokubusa ngokubambisana i-Action SA, i-FF Plus kanye ne-IFP abephakathi kwalabo abachithe isiphakamiso sokuhlakaza umkhandlu. Ngesikhathi kunokushayisana kwemibono, amaqembu aphoqa i-DA ukuba ihloniphe isinqumo sabavoti. Abanye babuze ukuthi leli dolobha lingakwazi yini ukungabi nabo ubuholi bezombusazwe inyanga ezintathu nokuthi ngani iDA ishaye indiva okutholwe umcwaningi mabhuku ngezemali emkhandlwini iTswane.
DA couldn't even convince their own caucus members to come and vote for this particular item. They didn't even engage the former coalition partners.
iDA ithize ihlonipha imbono yamanye amaqembu kodwa idumele.
We have made a public call. As you know, there's no coalition in Johannesburg. It's very disappointing because it retains the status quo.
Meya yeGoli uKabelo Kwamanda isiyamkele imphumela yalolu hlelo iphinde yagxeka imizamo yeDA yokuphazamisa ukusebenza kwedolobha.
They don't have the creative ability to become a formidable opposition. Hence you would find their tactics in the main involve litigations amongst others.
iDA ithi sazoqhubeka nokuphikisana nokuqokwa komphathi waleli dolobha uFloyd Brink.
Namhlanje iphini likaMengameli wezwe uPaul Mashatile uzokwethula inkulumo emcimbini wosuku lokuqwashisa ngesandulela ngculaza nengculaza uqobo eMandeni kwaZulu Natal. Ake siucoshe bukhoma lo mcimbi.
90s and 2000s, community advocacy from the streets to the courtrooms to parliament secured groundbreaking changes in HIV policy in this country. This fearless spirit, courage and determination has been the driving force behind South Africa's progress. It has catalyzed political and financial commitment from government, and today South Africa funds 70% of its HIV response domestically. A commitment unmatched in sub-Saharan Africa. We must ring-fence our HIV conditional grant. We equally commend the leadership and continued commitment of the government to ensure South Africa remains.
Iprasa isicikicwe isivumelwano semholo sonyaka owodwa nezinyunyana zezisebenzi okubala kuzo iNTU kanye neSATAU.
We are very excited as organized labor, SATAU and UNTU. This was a marathon of wage negotiations considering the challenges that PRASA is confronted with. Yes, indeed, when we started the wage negotiations, workers demanded 15%, but through the engagement, the union decided to be realistic and request management to be realistic as well. We did not find each other, we must indicate that, up until we referred the matter to the CCMA, and subsequent to that, the PRASA management have called the parties together and tabled their finances to us, and then they have proposed that the middle ground can be the 5%, which we have consulted with our members, and the members have given us a mandate to sign that 5%. We hope that next year, 2024, we'll be starting another wage negotiations. We are hoping that PRASA will come up with a reasonable offer to workers. And lastly, we must indicate that it is these workers that are working tirelessly in making sure that they turn things around within PRASA.
Ukudaleka kwesiminyaminya sokanyakazi kwama-containers echwebeni laseThekwini sekezwela kubahwebi embonini emkhiqizo e-Eastern Cape. Lokhu sekuholele ekutheni basebenzise ezokuthutha emgwaqeni ukuhambisa impahla yabo endaweni ezahlukene. Ngeshwa kuhamba kumba-ke eqolo. Imboni yokukhiqiza imoto iwumgogodla womnotho kulesi sifundazwe.
Njengokuba izibuko laseDurban limanqada lizama ukucutha inani lemithwalo yokwicontainer ezingaphezulu kwama-70,000. Oku kunefuthe kumazibuko amabini aseNelson Mandela, iGqeberha Port kwakunye neNgqurha. Inkampani ezininzi zikhetha ukusebenzisa indlela ukuthumela imithwalo yazo zishiya lamazibuko ngenxa yokulibaziseka. Kodwa ukusebenzisa indlela kuzityabula empokothweni ezinkampani kukho nomngcipheko omkhulu ezindleleni. In
the build-up to that, we've actually had major shipping lines skipping our ports, so they're not utilising our two ports that we have here. And of course, the backlog there has disadvantaged our manufacturers here, who are having to transport their goods via road.
Umbutho we-DA kweliphondo ubhalele inkulu baphathiswa Oscar Mabuyane ukuba ingenelele ukurhwebesha urhulumente asombulule ngxaki. Eliqela lithi icandelo livelisa izithuthi liphelelwa ngumonde kurhulumente kwaye oku kungaba nechaphaza kuqoqosho. Inkampani evelisa izithuthi Volkswagen ngezinye zenkampani ezivakalisa ungaxoli indlela elandelwa ngurhulumente.
We know that many ships carrying containers are currently bypassing the Eastern Cape ports due to delays experienced at other ports so that they can avoid the additional cost of stopping at our ports. This has the consequence of revenue losses for our ports, but more importantly, a negative impact on our economy in the Eastern Cape.
Kwindaba ze-SABC ndingumcebisi Ngqina, ndiseMpuma Koloni.
Lusephansi uhwebo lwerandi emakethe emini nje. Libiza R18.87 edoleni laseMelika, libe ngu-23.84 kupondo, kanti lingu-20.57 kwi-euro. Ipula laseBotswana libiza u-R1.39. Isephezulu inkomba yezabelo JSE. Igolide libiza $2,041 i-ounce, iplatinum yona ibiza $927 i-ounce, u-oil ongahluziwe ubiza $80.55 umphongolo. Bukeli sibeka lapho ke indaba zehora lokuqala emini siyabuya futhi ngehora lesikhombisa sobe sagiya ngalo olikaMageba. Ekosokhelela inkosazane uManzuza umshazwe noshada kaMaqoboza kuze kube ngokuzayo usale kahle.